Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and welcome back to my new Spooktober series, The Horror Movies That Made Me. Last time I talked about The Lost Boys, a horror comedy vampire classic that kick-started my love for the genre. But this week we're stepping into something a little different, an animated film that wasn't afraid to get a little scary and give children in the audience their first taste of horror. That's right, we're talking about Coraline. Now picture this. It's 2009, I'm 11 years old, sitting in the dark theater wearing those plastic black 3D glasses. I didn't know it yet, but I was about to have one of the creepiest, coolest movie experiences of my life. Because this is not just another animated movie. This was the first movie that actually showed me that kids' movies can be genuinely scary. Directed by Henry Selick, yes, that Henry Selick, the creative genius behind The Nightmare Before Christmas, one of my favorite movies, James and the Giant Peach, and the recent Wendell and Wild, Coraline feels like a fairy tale come to life. It's weird, it's dark, it's beautiful, and it's absolutely unforgettable. And the second I saw that Selick's name was attached to it, even at 11 years old, being a huge Nightmare fan, seriously, ask my parents, I used to walk around playing that movie on repeat on my little portable DVD player. I was sold. I didn't even need to know what it was about, and I didn't really because the teaser trailer revealed basically nothing.
Next year, Henry Selick, the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas, and acclaimed author Neil Gaiman are hand-making something special for you in eye-popping 3D.
Now this is also the first film from Leica Studios. This, Paranorman, and Kubo and the Two Strings are some of my favorite animated movies ever. Hell, even the underwhelming Box Trolls and Missing Link movies still blew me away because of the quality of their animation. Leica is just iconic at this point, because where everybody else went full CGI, they said, nah, we'll stick to taking years to create insanely detailed miniature sets and props, and hand-moved dolls frame by frame until our fingers fall off. And honestly, thank God they did, because between them and Aardman, it feels like these are the only two studios that are keeping stop motion alive right now. And you can feel the love in every single frame of this film. The textures, the lighting, the way the fabric moves, and the personality in each character. It's all painstakingly built, adjusted, and photographed one frame at a time. And there's 24 frames per second in this 100-minute movie. Yeah, that's 144,000 frames of animation shot over 3 years, with basically 2 to 6 seconds of the movie being completed a week. Absolutely insane. The kind of artistry that takes real patience and passion, and the result is mesmerizing. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, here's the setup. Coraline Jones, voiced perfectly by Dakota Fanning, is a curious, adventurous girl who moves with her family into a mysterious old mansion called the Pink Palace. Her parents are writers and are way too busy working to pay her any attention and actively treat her like a nuisance, so of course she's bored out of her mind. But then she discovers a little door in the wall that leads to another world. At first, it seems like everything she's ever wanted. Her other mother prepares delicious food, her other father plays colorful music for her, and everything's bright and magical. Except for one small detail. Everyone here has buttons for eyes, and they want Coraline to stay and do the same. Now, in Neil Gaiman's original novel, Coraline goes through the adventure all on her own. Well, except for the cat. But for the movie, Selick introduced a new character, Wybie, played by Robert Bailey Jr. And honestly, he's a great addition. He's quirky, super talkative, and awkward in the best way. And his energy perfectly complements Coraline's snark and independence. And then you've got the neighbors. Ian McShane absolutely steals the show with his vocal performance as Mr. Babinski. This eccentric, blue-skinned, mouse circus-obsessed showman who feels like he wandered in straight out of a fever dream, even when they're in the real world. But in the other world, the mouse circus is such a fun and expertly animated showcase of the talent on display here. And when it takes a dark turn later, man, as a kid, I had that image of Babinski falling apart into rats stuck in my head for weeks. Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French as Mrs. Spink and Forcible, perfection. They're dramatic, theatrical, completely ridiculous, but also very wise, and somehow two of the most relatable retired actresses you'll ever see. Every time they're on screen, it's comedy gold. Now let's talk a little bit more about the animation, because even now, 16 years later, it seriously holds up. And honestly, watching it again felt like I was watching it for the first time, because the movie just looks incredible. The colors pop like candy, the textures feel so real you could reach out and touch them. And there's a literal insane amount of detail in every single frame. Every background object, every flicker of light, every little bug has personality here. And I love how well it contrasts the two worlds that Coraline finds herself in. The real world? Drab, gray, kinda depressing. It feels heavy, lifeless, like Coraline's a kid stuck in this boring, dull adult place where everything's beige. But the other world? It's alive. It's vivid. It's the fantasy of a child who just wants to be noticed and loved. At least, until the mask comes off. Because once that illusion fades, This beautiful dreamland turns into a literal nightmare. Colors rot away, walls peel, furniture turns into giant bug-like creatures, and the other mother's world starts to just collapse into this spidery, grotesque hellscape. And it's terrifying. And can we talk about the performances? Dakota Fanning absolutely nails it as the voice of Coraline, giving her so much attitude, curiosity, vulnerability. In every single scene you feel her frustration, her bravery, her fear. She's not some Disney heroine, she's a real kid, and that makes her journey hit even harder. Then you've got Terry Hatcher, who's a total powerhouse here, playing both Coraline's distracted, stressed, overworked mom,
Coraline, I don't have time for you right now,
and her other mother. She goes from warm to spine-chilling in just a little shift of her voice.
Have a seat, won't you?
And when she turns into the spider-like beldam, yeah, nightmare fuel for days. And of course, I cannot forget Keith David as the cat. That buttery voice could narrate a grocery list and still sound cool.
You probably think this world is a dream come true, but you're wrong.
He's calm, mysterious, a little snarky, and the perfect guide for Coraline through this other world. Even John Hodgman, who I really only ever knew from those Mac vs. PC commercials, brings this warm softness and fatherly sense of humor to playing Coraline's dad.
Can you get me some of that magic mud you were talking about? Because I have a terrible case of writer's rash on my...
And even the other father. And when things get sinister, he ultimately kind of becomes a tragic figure, and I think Hodgman nailed it.
Sorry, mother making me.
I also want to shout out the music here by Bruno Kulai. The children's choir is used to immaculate effect to bump up that creep factor for me. And the actual moments of score here are nothing short of exhilarating. Now, Coraline isn't just beautiful and creepy, it's also very clever. It's funny, sure, but it's also got this dark fairy tale energy, like something that was written by the Brothers Grimm, but filtered through the crazy imagination of Neil Gaiman. And underneath all the spooky visuals and stop motion wizardry, it's got something to say. It's about appreciating what you have, even when it's kind of boring, because the grass really isn't greener on the other side. Coraline is just straight up horror for kids, but not in a cheap jump scare way. It's scary because of its shift in tone, its atmosphere, and the pure nightmare fuel that is the beldam and her fake world of sand-filled puppets. It's the kind of story that sticks with you long after the credits roll. And that's what I loved about it at 11 years old, and what I still love about it today. It's proof that horror doesn't have to be gory and filled with jump scares or rated R to get under your skin. Sometimes it just takes a brave little girl, a locked door, and a world that looks a little too perfect to be real. Next time on the horror movies that made me, we're gonna dive into a movie that was somehow rated PG when it was released, and I'm sure plenty of families traumatized their children taking them to it. But before then, click or tap on these cards, they'll take you to my review of Good Boy, or just over to my channel where you can check out the rest of my reviews. Thanks for watching everybody, and I will see you next time for my review of Tron Ares.